We're going to be talking today about what I say sustainability in action. Climate change is a reality. So this is the first state developing a platform together with Siemens to collect CO2 emissions from the industry in Querétaro, which is one of the highest industrialized states in the country, and promote reduction of emissions in the industry. So I'm very excited to be here with this distinguished panelist. So welcome, Governor.
Thank you, Alexandre. Thanks to you. Thanks for the invitations.
Marco, pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Alejandro. My pleasure.
And Gunter, great to have you here as the father of SiGreen.
Thank you very much.
On the stage.
Thank you.
So I would like to start with the governor, with you, Mauricio, and asking you about sustainability playing a central role of doing business in Querétaro, such as the State of Low Carbon Emissions seal. I would like to ask you, how is Querétaro addressing issues in a sustainable manner, and why is this a key sector in the industry?
Muchas gracias,
Por favor.
Alejandro.
Now in English, Marco.
Yes, thank you very much. What the governor is saying that Querétaro has understood the responsibility that subnational governments have towards climate change. That's why we were invited last year to participate in the UN Climate Week at New York, and then we also were invited to participate as speakers at the COP28 in Dubai. Because we understand that the fight against climate change is not just for survival, but for adding competitiveness to our industry. In that matter, we have allied with Siemens and SiGreen to develop this application in which we can trace the carbon footprint of some products. And we are working towards reducing our CO2 emissions, direct CO2 emissions in Querétaro. We launched a low carbon stamp, a low carbon seal, that it's complemented with a state compensation system in which the companies that generate CO2 emissions can compensate them through this low carbon stamp. And finally, the policy for promoting this decarbonization figures is through an environmental tax. An environmental tax that charges every CO2 emission that industry is generating and allowing them to compensate or to reduce their emission. In that matter, we are working or taking profit of this nearshoring trend, in which just Querétaro will not just offer a competitive state, but also an environmental safe state.
Well, that's very, very comprehensive. So congratulations for developing such a comprehensive system of not only tracking CO2 emissions, but also promoting energy efficiency and mitigating the climate impact. So that's awesome. We're delighted to be part of it. So we are, Gunter, very excited to participate in what we call ecosystem. So it's all about collaboration, and having such a great partner as Querétaro makes it very, very exciting and easy to collaborate. This is the first time that a government entity worldwide is going to be using SiGreen as a platform. How excited are you about it?
Absolutely excited. I'm very proud that we can make it with the government of Querétaro, because from my point of view, and as far as I have seen, it's really a role model what we are doing here. Everything started that we were involved by the Economia Circular, which was started by CEDESO, by you. And many of these companies who are doing operations already in the state of Querétaro, they are coming from an automotive industry, like I said, and already are using SiGreen. So we already have an engagement there, and then we could show SiGreen is tracking the carbon emissions along the supply chain. So it supports a climate neutral supply chain. Now we are bringing it to the next step. And I'm very proud that we just have signed another, let's say, intention. It's an action plan. We signed the implementation of a so-called carbon ecosystem, and that's really unique. We call it a carbon ecosystem because it brings together all the parties. So first of all, it brings a government which sets a reliable framework. That's very, very important. Then, of course, we have a national organization who is launching nature-based projects. And then we have brought in partners like Callirius, which are a marketplace. So they are bringing these nature-based projects, of course, to a customer. And we have brought in a company, OpenForests, who is also monitoring then the nature-based project. And everything then connected with Siemens so that it is seamless. And better is I show you a video so that everybody can understand what we are going to do here. Just a second. Local emissions, local projects with a reliable government.
Thank you, Gunter.
Excellent. I mean, it's amazing. It's not just tracking CO2 emissions, incentivizing energy efficiency projects, but it's also offsetting CO2 emissions with projects in the state of Querétaro. So it's a closed loop. So it's amazing. Now, given the amount of investment that Querétaro has been attracting, I mean, new industries are coming to Querétaro. It's one of the highest industrialized states in the country. What's the impact? How do you assess the impact or the benefit for the state and especially for the communities? What's the social impact of installing SiGreen?
Sin lugar a dudas, Querétaro.
Well, the government said it's obvious that Querétaro, as an industrialized state, is receiving a lot of investment, but not just investment, also people. To the state arriving in average 126 people daily. So it adds up to our challenges in terms of emissions, in terms of waste. So what the government is looking forward to make alliances with companies such as Siemens and through SiGreen to track what you can measure, you can improve. So what we're trying to measure is where are those emissions so we can identify and reduce or compensate them. That should be a value and competitive advantage for the state. So we can keep growing through environmental care.
I mean, we are at the Hannover Fair. We are experiencing innovation at its best, of course, at the Siemens booth. we're experiencing the connection of the virtual and real worlds. What's the role of innovation in sustainability? Which challenges do you see in the sector and how to overcome them?
Bueno, sin lugar a dudas, la innovación.
Obviously, Querétaro is focused on developing not just innovation, but technological development. We are convinced that the states, the economy should grow through technology development, because we're convinced that if we don't give our children enough tools to go outside and compete, we will doom our children to exploiting, or even worse, to indifference in the world. So that's why we are focusing our efforts to be a competitive entity through innovation and technology development.
Thank you, Marco. Yeah, I'm convinced that to be successful in sustainability, we are talking about a technology revolution. It's a technology transition. It's technology-based, and that's why we're so excited to partner with you on this topic. So, Gunter, any final words or thoughts from you about this partnership?
Yeah, I think I'm very excited because everything started in Dubai, And when we were together in Dubai, when we heard what does it take to really have climate neutral supply chains and climate neutral operations. So first of all, we always had, of course, we need a reliable framework, and then we need real data. So average data is not that what we can rely on. And then we need trust in the data we exchange. And what we are doing here is exactly that. We are bringing all the different parties together. So we have the government, we have, let's say, organizations which are really putting nature-based projects into actions. And then, of course, we need to bring a marketplace into the game, because this project needs to bring to the customers from our partner Callirius. And then, of course, you need monitor them, which is done by OpenForests, so that the trust is then. And then everything seamlessly to connect with SiGreen and Siemens is the unique part. So there is no escape. Everything is seamlessly connected. And this additionally brings the trust into the carbon ecosystem. And for me, it's a call for action for other governments that they're copying that, what we are doing here. And combined with local projects, it's absolutely a unique, let's say, a project, but it should not be unique. It should be copied, so that other governments take an example from that, what you're doing here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Querétaro is already a reference in Mexico, but now will become a reference globally for an excellent project, a very holistic project in sustainability. So, Governor, any final thoughts from your end?
Muchas gracias. Aquí, como comentaba Gunter.
Yes, the governor says that he believes that to promote development, you should be always on the formal side rather than the informal side. So in this matter for sustainability, you should be on the side of the environment, promoting circular economy and decarbonization, rather than to be on the other side. So that's the governor is pleased to thank Siemens for this alliance, for this joint work towards a greener environment, and that's why we are here. That's why we already signed an MOU to keep promoting this application, this project through SiGreen. And thank you very much, Siemens, for all the trust that you have brought to Querétaro.
Thank you very much, Marco. And I want to share with all of you, 30 minutes ago, we signed not only an MOU, but an implementation plan with the government of Querétaro that lays out how exactly are we going to implement it, the timeline, the partnership, and above all, the trust that is the base, the foundation for such a collaboration. Un gran aplauso para los panelistas.